Yo, what it is, good people? We back. Another day on Keep It G News. And my bad, I apologize for the background. I'm at a family member house. You feel me? I ain't got the normal setup. But either way, however you put it, the show must go on. And today we talking about a situation out of my city, Baltimore. And I actually talked about the situation. This might be my third or fourth video on it. Because I've been following this story close because I don't like the way it's going. It's about the Squeegee kid from my city. From y'all that been following me, y'all know, y'all done probably watched me cover this a few times now. I covered it when it first happened. I covered it when the 15-year-old / 14-year-old, because that's the age he was at the time, he got arrested. And I covered the last court proceeding, the last two. And the one before the last one was the prosecutors and the defense reached the agreement that they was going to keep the shorty in juvenile court. I saluted that, but it was still up to the judge. Remember that? Then the judge doubled back and say, no, we going to keep this in adult court, first degree murder. Now, mind you, when it was in juvenile court, they was going to let him cop out the involuntary manslaughter, 10 years. I was for that, you know. 14 years old when he committed this crime that was really self-defense in my opinion. But that's not how the judge looked at it. So today, we got more details on what actually happened in that hearing because a lot of people wanted to know. I know I wanted to know. You feel me? And this is what happened.
Police are reporting on the death of Timothy Reynolds, the Baltimore driver killed during a confrontation with the Squeegee kid last summer.
The 15-year-old Squeegee kid is charged in Reynolds' death. That incident helping to lead the city to implement new rules, including a partial ban on squeegeeing. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Kai Jackson. Mackenzie Frost leads our team coverage tonight with details that you're hearing first on Fox. Mackenzie?
Well, Kai and Mary, we were barred from attending that juvenile transfer hearing back in November, so we really had no idea what was said during the hearing itself. We filed a motion to unseal that case, and a judge ultimately agreeing with us. Now, for the first time, we know exactly what was said during that hearing and what led up to the judge deciding to keep this teen in the adult system. After being kept in the dark about what happened inside the Juvenile Justice Center on November 17th, this order from a judge. After Fox 45 News filed a motion unsealing the hearing involving the 15-year-old Squeegee kid accused of shooting and killing Timothy Reynolds on July 7th, 2022. Defense attorney J. Wendell Gordon can be heard describing his client, who was 14 at the time of the shooting, as a kid who was in summer school at Digital Harbor High. And the kid would squeegee in his spare time to earn some money for school clothes or school supplies. But that's not what his own mother said back in August.
He was saving up to buy his own Airbnb for his birthday on the 8th.
During the hearing, confirmation of what Fox 45 News reported in November about the possibility of the suspect being involved with the gang, the Crips. Assistant State's Attorney Michael Dunty presenting photos. One showing the suspect grabbing a backpack police say had the gun used to kill Tim Reynolds. Another photo showing the backpack with blue on it, along with the murder weapon and a blue bandana. Other photos, all with the colors washed out except for one, blue. The United States Department of Justice recognized the Crips' known color as blue. Warren Brown, one of the suspect's defense attorneys, previously told Fox 45 News he didn't believe his client is a Crip member.
They seemed to indicate that that was evidence that he had belonged to the Crips, but we didn't have any independent evidence of that, and he certainly didn't admit to it.
Brown dismissing the photos, saying they aren't proof of gang affiliation. But during the hearing, Dr. Paul Archibald, a social worker who evaluated the defendant after his arrest, argued the defendant suffered from racial trauma stemming from various incidents in his life that can manifest as PTSD. But Dr. Archibald failing to mention specific trauma instances in his report. During his testimony, it's revealed the mental health community has yet to accept this racial trauma diagnosis. Later, the prosecutor can be heard asking the defense witness if he asked the suspect about possible gang affiliation. Dr. Archibald said he never did. The case clearly weighing heavily on Judge Charles Dorsey during the hearing. Before denying the transfer, Dorsey says, "I didn't ask for this case, but I put on this robe. I like to think I'm a man of integrity, a man who follows the law." The judge calling the 15-year-old a threat to public safety and says he's never shown remorse for his actions or empathy for the family of Tim Reynolds. The judge ending his remarks by saying even though the Department of Juvenile Services has programs available, the evidence is overwhelming. This defendant is not amenable to treatment because of his lack of willingness. There is no evidence of him being teachable. On the phone, defense attorney Warren Brown telling Fox 45 News he still disagrees with the judge's ruling, arguing their client doesn't have a criminal record.
It'd be different if we tried this and we tried that and tried this in the juvenile system and none of it worked. We haven't tried anything on him. Zero. I don't think that there's going to be any consideration to the fact that he's a 15-year-old, 14 at the time.
The hearing ending with the defendant being taken out in his yellow jumpsuit and handcuffs. Now, it was also interesting to watch the hearing towards the end. Both defense attorneys were kind of going back and forth, arguing about whether they were willing to admit that the defendant had a gun in the first place. And again, we only know this information, and the hearing is now unsealed because we fought the court system in getting this information available to the public. The defendant is set to go to trial in July. We're live in the newsroom. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Mackenzie, thank you. Now, Fox 45 just received a statement from the Reynolds family. They say they are glad that the truth and real facts are coming out and that the false narrative manufactured by the defense is being exposed. They go on to say the public deserves to hear why this case has to be tried as a first-degree murder.
So y'all already know if y'all follow my channel. The news only give you a description of what actually happened. You know, they say when you hide something from a black person, you put it in a book. Well, not this black person, because I read them books. So this is what really happened. You know, more details into what happened in that court proceeding. An attorney for Sinclair Broadcast Group, the parent company for Fox 45 News, filed a motion to gain access to the video recording of the hearing. And on January 3rd of 2023, a judge granted the motion. The hearing lasted more than 5 hours and included several hours of witness testimony and cross-examination. The defendant is represented by Warren Brown and J. Wendell Gordon, two well-known defense attorneys in Baltimore. Until now, the public had to rely on what the attorneys and family members who were inside the hearing described to know what took place. The defense team said the defendant, Tavon Scott, was enrolled in summer school at Digital Harbor High School and was a squeegee at the known intersection of Light and Conway Street. The defense had said the shooting was a result of self-defense after Reynolds parked his car across several lanes of traffic and approached a group of squeegee kids with a baseball bat. There are several videos showing the interaction. Some appeared to show Reynolds swinging the bat. Witnesses have given various versions of whether Reynolds hit the kids with the bat or not. The prosecution has argued Reynolds was hit in the head with a cement block that disoriented him. The defense said Scott was squeezing to make extra cash to pay for school supplies and clothes. The characterization has been contradicted by Scott's own mother, who in August told Baltimore Murder Inc., a social media account, that her son was trying to make money for an upcoming birthday party. He was saving up to buy his own Airbnb for his birthday on July 8th, she said. During the hearing, it was revealed that Scott's father has been in and out of his life due to going to jail for various crimes. Scott had also lost a relative in his childhood that had a significant impact on his life, according to experts who testified on behalf of the defense. The defense called Dr. Archibald, a clinical social worker employed at Sarah's House Mental Health Services in Baltimore. Dr. Archibald talked about the assessment done by the Department of Juvenile Services and how it expanded Scott's evaluation by asking more questions. Dr. Archibald discussed at length his methods of questioning to assess what he described as racial trauma, something he said can manifest like PTSD in those who suffer from the diagnosis. According to Dr. Archibald, there are several facts that can be included in racial trauma, including aggression and microaggression about race, gender, or sex. Dr. Archibald said he had determined the defendant suffered from racial trauma, though he failed to mention specific examples in his report after assessing Scott. During cross-examination, Assistant State's Attorney Michael Daunte questioned Dr. Archibald about the validity of racial trauma diagnosis. When he asked if the medical community accepted racial trauma when determining mental health concerns, Dr. Archibald said not yet. Daunte, who also served as lead homicide prosecutor, questioned Dr. Archibald about photos that raised questions about Scott's involvement in street gangs, the Crips. The photos in question showed the suspect using known gang signs, Crip-specific coloring in some photos, and in other photos showing the gun itself in a black and blue backpack. Police said the gun was found in a blue bandana. Warren Brown, one of Scott's defense attorneys, previously described the photos showing alleged gang affiliations that were discussed during the hearing. Brown said there were some images that showed washed up coloring, except for a blue color, except Brown called it more of a teal color. Anything that was close to blue was mentioned. That was the first time I've heard of any Crip affiliation or alleged Crip affiliation, Brown said, adding his client has never confirmed he is affiliated with the Crips. Another photo that was discussed during the hearing that showed what has been interpreted as a hand sign affiliated with a gang. Again, Brown dismissed the notion, saying the double C reference was just the heart his client was making with his hands. The photo was taken while the suspect has been in custody. Their inference was that he must be a member of the Crips because he had blue hand there and he was making the C for Crips, but really it was just a heart, Brown said. When asked to confirm the Crip affiliation, a spokesman for Baltimore Police Department said because the reference defendant is currently on trial, any questions should be directed to the state's attorney office or the courts. There were several victim impact statements read during the hearing, including Tom Reynolds' ex-wife, current wife, sister, and 19-year-old daughter. At the end of the hearing, Judge Dorsey said he didn't ask for this case, and he said he believes he's a man of integrity and a man who follows the law. This is the toughest case I've had, Judge Dorsey said. Going through Scott's history with marijuana use, his history of not attending school and not taking medication relative to various depression and anxiety diagnoses, Judge Dorsey said Scott is living an adult lifestyle. This court found that the person who participated in such a brazen daylight shooting would do so in the future given the opportunity. Judge Dorsey said, adding he thought Scott is a threat to the public safety. The judge also took issue with what he said was a lack of remorse for Scott's actions and empathy for the family of the victim. Even though the Department of Juvenile Services has provided programs to help Scott turn his life around, Judge Dorsey said the evidence is overwhelming that the defendant is not amenable to treatment because of his lack of willingness. There was no evidence of him being teachable. So come to find out, Fox 45 Baltimore had to fight to get this information released. I guess because it was a juvenile court proceeding, even though they waived him up to be an adult. So that's what it was, and I'm going to salute them for doing that because more people wanted to know what was going on. I know I wanted to know because it didn't make sense to me how a judge overrided the state. You don't normally see that. Straight up. That might happen probably 15% of the time, if I can put a percentage on it. You don't normally see a judge go against the state recommendation. So why in this case? Especially when you consider all the factors that we knew at the time. I mean, Timothy Reynolds did get out and swing a bat at the boys, as y'all just seen in that reading. That was the video. He got out, swung a bat at these boys, and you see what happened. Now, Shorty was wrong. He shouldn't have shot him. But why is we not holding a grown man accountable for getting out the car with a bat and swinging it? You feel me? And I'm not saying the boy shouldn't be charged or shouldn't be punished. Yo, but first degree murder, now he facing life in prison at 14. Then you got this judge. So I looked more into the judge because I'm like, yo, what's up with dude? Like, how can you sit here and say that a 14 or 15-year-old kid, and I keep saying that because he was 14 at the time of the shooting, he turned 15 the next day, but how can you sit there and say that this kid is irreparable? And then how can you not factor in his upbringing, the things he went through? You know, trauma. Trauma is real. Trauma plays a role in your decision making. But it seems like whenever it comes to us, we don't get that same, what's the word I'm looking for? We don't get that same treatment. You feel me? Why is it that we always got to be strong and we always got to overcome and we can't make the same mistakes other people made and get treated the same, get a second chance? They trying to wash this kid up. So like I said, I looked into the judge because I wanted to know more about him and check my man out.
Well, I'm a judge, and so I thought that I would be limited. Like I said, I think that I thought that people would see it as a weakness, when really it takes courage to be able to go and ask for help. You know, I was afraid that I would get fired from my job or I wouldn't get promotions, that people would see this as a reason to not promote me and it would stagnate my profession. And actually it's the opposite. I've picked up these tools. I'm able to navigate through stress and anxiety in a healthy way now, and it has made me a more effective attorney and also a better judge.
Are y'all familiar with the term black boule? For real. Because I think that's what we're dealing with in this type of situation. It's basically a black person who reaches a certain level of success, who has no connection to the black community. Now, I ain't saying he should be talking slang, but I'm just talking about the way he carrying himself. He look like he don't give a F about black people. Straight up. Because I look at it like when you in a position of power, y'all, knowing how our people is treated universally around the board in all factors of life, you got a certain obligation to say, yo, hold up, not right here. Not if I got the word on it. But time and time again, you see these guys in this situation, they don't. They be totally brought into the system. I don't see how you can call a 14-year-old alleged gang member, 15-year-old, irreparable, when you actually never tried nothing to repair him. And you know sending him to adult prison ain't gonna repair him. No, that ain't at all. And it's been proven that sometimes in these juvenile justice systems, yo, they can actually do the work to get these kids on the right track, because to be honest, most of these kids just don't know. Straight up. They reacting out of ignorance. They don't know right from wrong. So how can you expect a 15-year-old to have a remorse for a situation where he really don't even understand it? Straight up. I've been in situations at 19 that I didn't fully understand. You know what I mean? Yeah, I had an idea what can go on, but I couldn't really grasp my head around the fact that these guys talking life and you can actually do life in prison. For real. And I'm talking about knowing for sure. It's a difference between having some type of awareness and knowing for sure. This kid is no way he knows for sure what he's getting himself into, even if he's seen it. Because his mind is not fully developed. The mind don't fully develop to 25. But our kids are getting washed away by these court systems and by these judges because ignorance. And they're not even giving them a chance to rehabilitate. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, man. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm biased because I've been in these young type situations and I grew up to learn different. And I know other people that grown up to learn different. I know people that was in gangs when they was teenagers and they don't want nothing to do with it now. And I think that's more common than the adverse. This boy being 14 years old, going through what he going through, and then being a gang the rest of his life. Nah, I think you can send him to the juvenile justice system, 10 years, adult life. I mean, what's that, juvenile life him? Come on when he's 21, and I think he'd be a way better person. Get in there, learn some skills, graduate high school, because obviously he don't got the tools right now around him. And when they brought up the situation with his mother, I remember that video was posted on Baltimore Murder Anchor Instagram page. And I actually went on the guy's Instagram page and told him, take it down. Like, yo, why would you put this out there during an open case? A case that's still going to court. I knew it was going to come back and bite him. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of these people that speak on our culture, they don't really care. They just try and monetize, y'all. That's it, and that's all. Long as they can get some money out of it, they don't care. And then the question is, are they worse than the originators of it? Are these people that's in position worse than the people that we thought was the problem years ago? I think they are, man. Let me know in the comments, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. Let's keep it G News and I'm out.
I'm probably gonna die if I lead a clan. You got your turn and you turned your back. You turned around, ain't no turning back. I can't be the boss and no us and that. I'm bringing bow and I'm bipping with 2 times. I bought the drink and the kid got a coupon. Make 20,000 a neck on a futon. Sitting out cause my brother in Jumon. Why you telling people you selling fentanyl? Why you telling feds you selling shit at all? Why you telling cops if you about to get it all? I'ma tell you then I'm already squeezing. You be dreaming about your dreams. I been living out my nightmares. I been missing out in bed. The other night she was right there. I be lurking with my bros. I be crying with my mom. She be praying to the Lord that I don't turn into a monster. You be dreaming about your dreams. I been living out my nightmares. I been missing Kevin Bates.